Hi everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today I would like to discuss with you a topic that is actually a response a little bit to a previous video that I had done a little while ago. I did a video that I titled Timbre, so be sure to look that up, that video. And when after I did the video on timbre, one of my lovely subscribers had a couple of very good questions. So he made a comment and I answered a couple of his questions. So I thought that I would make this as a partially a vocal quick tip and partially a response video to some things that he was, some very good questions that he was bringing up. So what did he ask about? When I talked about timbre in the last video, in that particular video, just to remind you all, remember timbre is a term and it has to do with the quality of sound. So the quality of sound, whether it's vocal sound, instrumental sound, whatever the case, the particular quality of that sound is what we refer to as the timbre. In that video, I gave a couple of examples where I played a little bit on my violin, and then I played the exact same tune, notes, on my flute to demonstrate how two completely different instruments can give the exact same notes and sounds, but they come out differently in terms of the quality because of the instruments that are producing them. So of course the flute is a wind instrument. And sorry, fixing my earrings. The flute is a wind instrument, so, and it's made of metal, or gold, or silver, I should say. So of course, when you blow into it and you produce particular notes, and then you create the exact same notes on the wooden stringed instrument of the violin, they have different qualities to them. So that's the timbre. Also in that video, I talked about vocal timbre and how different voices, the quality of different kinds of voices, can lend themselves to different kinds of genres of music. An example I gave was blues, like the blues as compared to pop music. Whereas pop music, oftentimes you hear voices that tend to be higher, sometimes a little bit nasal. With blues, oftentimes you hear a rougher quality or a scratchier voice. Sometimes some people might say. And after I did that video, this lovely gentleman, he was asking a question specifically related to Christina Aguilera, whom we know sings, she sings all kinds of music, including blues, and she's done pop music, R&B, you name it, and of course she can sing it all. And one question that he asked was she making her voice scratchy or rough on purpose when she does that, especially lately? I think he was saying he'd heard her sing some songs recently in which her voice sounded rougher to him. Anyway, I'm going to adjust this light, sort of, kind of. Anyway, and in addition to responding, or rather than, I guess you could say, responding to him just by typing it out in the comments, I thought I would make this response video to that. That was a very good question. And my short answer is that I can't answer that actually unless I speak directly to her, or unless I read or hear her talk about her intentions and what she was trying to accomplish in doing a particular song in order to get the answer. And the reason I say that is because there can be several reasons that can contribute to that roughness in her voice. On the one hand, yes, if she was trying to give a bluesier, grittier performance, I guess you could say, then it's possible that she was making her voice sound that way on purpose. On the other hand, a couple more reasons that can contribute to that rougher sound, and this is for all of us who are speaking as well as singing. One is something I talk about all the time, and that's dehydration. If you're not hydrated, I'm always encouraging you to drink your water. Make sure that you get enough water in to lubricate the vocal cords. So if you are not getting enough water, if your vocal cords are not lubricated enough throughout the day, and certainly around a performance, then yes, that can contribute to some, the scratchy kind of quality to a particular voice. They say, or at least I've read recently, that Americans are chronically dehydrated because we don't take in enough water. Water and combinations of other liquids as well. So I encourage you to stay on top of that. Try to get, minimum of, at least with 6-7 cups of water in a day, and a couple of tall glasses will knock most of that out just automatically. Plus there's water in the foods that we eat as well, etc. I encourage you to stay away from the less healthy liquids like pop and diet pop, of course. But anyway, so hydration of your body and of the vocal cords is one reason that you may have the scratchiness. Another reason might be tiredness. If you're just weary and tired, it can certainly show up in the way that you're producing sound with your vocal cords, and throat, and all that. So that could be a contributing factor as well. So we want to be well rested. And then that's very important, of course, for everything in overall health, as well as the energy that we need to actually speak and give a performance, etc. So in addition to tiredness and hydration, another thing to consider is a lazy vocal habit. So what do I mean by a lazy vocal habit? When I was an undergraduate at Marygrove College, woohoo, Marygrove College, my alma mater. A lot of you know that I hold a master's degree in psychology and a separate doctorate degree in psychology. But many of you may not know that I also have a bachelor's degree. I have an undergraduate degree in music. And when I was there, I double majored in voice performance and psychology. And as a music major in voice, I remember learning that sometimes, or more than sometimes, too often than not, as we grow up and grow out of our childhood, we tend to become lazy in the use of our voices on a day-to-day basis, just conversationally speaking. So I recall the example that was used at the time, and I use the same example with my students also, and that is, if you look at little kids, little girls and boys, when they're running around and playing or expressing themselves or whatever, they tend to use the full range of their voices, right? They go up really high and way down low and everywhere in between. Well, as we mature and learn to speak in ways that are more acceptable to society, we tend to speak lower and in a narrower range. So we're not using nearly as much of our voices on a day-to-day conversational basis. And as a result, it can tire the voice. We tend to I guess you could say, sit down on the vocal cord, so to speak, that laziness, to sit on the voice more. We speak lower instead of up here. Instead of speaking higher, not exaggeratedly, overdoing it, but just getting up off the vocal cords and speaking a little bit higher, just a little bit higher. It is your natural speaking voice. Oftentimes we're speaking lower, in other words, than our actual speaking voice is, due to laziness. It can tire the voice out. It can get you in the habit of not using as the fuller range of your voice, so that when you go to use it in a dramatic sense, when you're doing poetry or when you're singing, etc., it can be harder for you to do so because you're losing that flexibility in the use of the voice. So I encourage you to keep that in mind also, that in your daily speaking voice, that you're not lazy with it, that you speak a little higher than you might normally, than you've gotten used to doing, and to use more of the fuller range. What do I mean by that in your daily speech? Well, depending on the culture that you come from, you may use your voice more flexibly, with more flexibility than others may from other cultures. And an example I could think of is if you said, "Whoo, child, honey. Girl, you know. Now, if I go way up there and then way down here, you can hear in just my speaking, I'm using a fuller range. So you don't necessarily have to do all that if that's not your style, but still, that idea, apply it in whatever way makes sense for you. Keep that in mind, and that too will help contribute to maintaining your the life of your vocal cords throughout the day as well as throughout a career. And again, it just gets some of that stress and pressure up off your voice and your vocal cords, and that can keep you from having the scratchiness and the roughness in your voice if that's something that you're not wanting to have, and can help preserve the life of the mechanism of the instrument. Okay, I hope that was helpful to you. Before I leave you today, speaking of hydration, I want to remind you to do visit my Reverb Nation site, www.reverbnation.com/Angela Celeste May, because I am still supporting Charity Water. The charity is called Charity Water. And again, like I've mentioned in the past, they do lots of wonderful work around the world with providing fresh water, drinking water, bathing water, etc. for people in places that do not have access to this. And of course, it's very important for health and hygiene and longevity of life, and also keeping diseases at bay, etc. So if you go to my Reverb Nation site, and you purchase one of the singles from my debut album, No Limits, 50% of that sale goes to the charity water. So I encourage you to do that for me and for them as well. Let's see. Oh yeah, one other thing too. Speaking of sites, if you haven't done so already, I invite you to follow me on Twitter. My Twitter name is Celeste, CELESTE, and then M as in music, US, and the number 1. So Celeste, MUS1. That's my Twitter name, so come on over and follow me. And in the meantime, take care. God bless. I hope this was helpful to you. Feel free to give me a thumbs up. And if you want me to answer any additional questions about what I talked about today or clarification, I'd be happy to do so. Just leave a comment below. And I invite you to subscribe and join me as well. So take care and stay warm out there wherever you may be. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.